آدم علمنا ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا يا معلم آدم علمنا ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا بكرامة وعلمك ما لم تكن تعلم وكان فضل الله عليك عظيما اللهم إنا نسألك أن تفتح علينا فتوح العارفين بحكمتك وتنشر علينا وقايتك العظمى ونعمتك الكبرى ورحمتك الواسعة وتعلمنا ما جهلنا وتفهمنا ما درسنا ودرسنا وتذكرنا ما نسينا أو نسينا وتنفعنا بما علمتنا وتبارك لنا في علمنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين بكرامة من أرسلته رحمة للعالمين محمد ابن عبد الله وآله وصحبه أجمعين آمين وبعد إخوة الأعزاء أحباب الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته أتمنى أنكم على الخير وبالخير وفي الخير إن شاء الله Ramadan Mubarak inshallah. I want to be sure that you can hear me and that my voice is clear. Can you hear me? Is my voice clear enough?
Yes, Ustaz.
All right, shukran. Thank you for the confirmation. So inshallah, we continue from where we ended the class with Usuluddin Tujo-A yesterday. The system and the step is that حيثما وقفنا لقسم نبدأ بقسم آخر. Wherever we stop with a section, we are going to continue with the next section with that. So by that, التسجيلات كلها يكون لكل الأقسام. So the recordings that we produce is meant for all sections. That means that yesterday class recording is also for you and for all the rest of Usuluddin counseling classes. So today class for you also is for yesterday to listen to it and assess it, and also for counseling also to assess it. So because it is an online class, so there is no need for repetition. So we just we use that to save time and to cover more and to be able to explain more. So I advise everyone to access the recordings of yesterday. Yesterday, it was from page 5. We started from page 5 at Tamuhid. We started from Tamuhid yesterday. And on the Tamuhid, we talked about the reason, what necessitated the philosophy, how did man start the process of philosophizing, ما هو المقصود بالتفلسف، ما المقصود بالفلسفة، ومتى يكون الإنسان يتفلسف. So after that, we talked about the definitions and the marahil and sumatul falsafa. So under that, we only talked about tariful falsafa in Logan. Now, today, we ended on page 11 yesterday. Yeah, page 10, sorry. No, 11 rather. So we started discussion about tariful falsafa istilahan. So the conceptual and the detailed definition of philosophy. So where we say that it is impossible for anyone to give a precise, concise, comprehensive definition of philosophy that will be acceptable to all times and era and location. So, and as such, we said in order for us to be able to define philosophy, we have to look at the eras through which philosophy has passed. And that was where we ended the discussion yesterday. Here, وهذا بدوره يقتضينا أن نبين المراحل التي مرت بها الفلسفة قديما وحديثا. So this was the point where we ended the class with yesterday. So that if we want to define philosophy comprehensively or conceptually, so we need to study and clarify the stages and eras through which philosophy has passed, both the ancient time and the modern times. So in order to do that, we need to know to study the philosophers and each of them's clarification on philosophy. So that was the point where we stopped yesterday. And we said, وأن نستعرض الموضوعات التي تناولها الفلاسفة. So we need to understand the areas and scopes that the philosophers themselves discussed in each era, so that حتى يمكننا أن نعرف الفلسفة, so that we will be able to define philosophy according to that scope in an accurate and precise manner. So meaning to say, what we are going to do today, inshallah, is we're going to check through the eras of philosophy. المرحلة الأولى، المرحلة الثانية، المرحلة الثالثة، والمرحلة الرابعة. So كيف عرفوا الفلسفة في هذه المراحل؟ ومن هم الفلاسفة في كل مرحلة من هذه المراحل؟ وما هو التعريف لكل من الفلاسفة للفلسفة. So this is what we are going to check. And just to inform you, although we have 4 general eras for philosophy, each era could also be divided into several eras. مثلا مرحلة الأولى قد تنقسم إلى 3 أو 4 عنصر. For example, era number 1 or period number 1, the مرحلة الأولى, the first stage of philosophy, is divided into 3 or 4 period itself. So we have المرحلة ما قبل السقراط. So we have المرحلة السقراطية. So then we have مرحلة ما بعد السقراط. Then under that we have Aflatoni, we have Aristotle, وما بعد Aristotle. So all these are under مرحلة الأولى. Then after that, inshallah, we move to مرحلة الثانية بإذن الله. Okay, so but أولا, we start with تعريف الفلسفة عند القدماء. When we talk about Qudama, the traditional, the ancient scholars, so most importantly, when we mention Qudama or Al-Qadim in Falsafa, so what we are referring to is the Greek scholars and philosophers. Okay, so by this, تعرف الفلسفة عند القدماء بمعنى عند فلاسفة اليونانيين عند اليونانية. So the definition of philosophy according to the Greek scholars. All right. نحن إذا استعرضنا الفلسفة اليونانية منذ نشأتها في القرن السابع قبل الميلاد حتى القرن السادس بعده، أي منذ عهد الثالث الأيوني سنة 640 قبل الميلاد إلى أن أغلق الإمبراطور جوستنيان المدارس الفلسفية في أثينا عام 529 وأمر بحصر تدريس الفلسفة. وجدنا أنها مرت بأربعة عصور أو بأربع مراحل. كان موضوع الفلسفة يتغير في كل مرحلة منها. Now, for us to understand the reading, let's do this. So you read from here. نحن إذا استعرضنا الفلسفة اليونانية منذ نشأتها في القرن السابع قبل الميلاد حتى القرن السادس بعده. Okay, then you stop the reading here. Then you go to وجدنا أنها مرت بأربعة عصور أو أربع مراحل. Then you will understand the reading. Okay, I read again. إذا استعرضنا الفلسفة اليونانية منذ نشأتها بمعنى منذ بدايتها في القرن السابع قبل الميلاد. القرن السابع قبل الميلاد هي القرن الثالث، يعني عهد ثالث الأيوني، وحتى القرن السادس بعد الميلاد، وهذا هو القرن ما بعد أرسطوطاليس. Okay, so now we leave this one for now. Now we read إذا استعرضنا الفلسفة اليونانية منذ بدايتها في القرن السابع قبل الميلاد وحتى القرن السادس بعد الميلاد، وجدنا أنها مرت بأربعة عصور أو بأربع مراحل. Now we're here. So it means that if we check philosophy, إذا استعرضنا الأرض, if we present, if we observe, if we check Greek philosophy properly, منذ نشأتها يعني منذ بدايتها, from its inception, from its beginning, from its starting point in the 7th century before Christ and until the 6th century after Christ. Okay, AC. We are here. So إذا استعرضنا إذا درسنا إذا بحثنا الفلسفة اليونانية, if we check Greek philosophy from the time that it was developed in the 7th century BC until the 6th century CE, وجدنا أنها مرت بأربعة عصور, we will see that it has passed through 4 eras أو بأربع مراحل, or 4 periods or stages. We are here. So if we check the Greek philosophy generally, from its beginning in the 7th century until the end in the 6th century CE, we will see that it has passed through 4 stages. Okay, now we go back to ما هو القرن السابع قبل الميلاد? What is the 7th century before Christ? What happened at that particular time? Now we continue the reading. منذ عهد الثالث. So that's قرن السابع قبل الميلاد is عهد الثالث الأيوني. from the time of the ionic cells. What was that particular time? What was the year? Around 640 BC. Okay. Now, what is al-Qarn al-Sadis ba'dahu? Okay, it is ila an aglaqa Emperor Justinian. So that was the era when Emperor Justinian closed down all the schools of philosophy in Athens. Athens, A-T-H-E-N. Where is it? Chatting, chat. Chat. We'll go to chat here. Anyway, Athens, the spelling is A-T-H-E-N. A-T-H-E-N. Athens. Right. Okay, chat is here. Then I bring it to this corner. You go up here and you follow here. All right, and you believe you can see. All right, the Athens. So that is now from the 7th century BC, which was the time of Thales, until the 6th century CE, which was the time when Emperor Justinian closed down all schools of philosophy in Athens. And what was the year? It was around the year 529. It was around the year 529 CE. What did she do? She ordered for the close down of all philosophical studies, that there should not be any study in philosophy again. Because according to the emperor, the philosophers and the study of philosophy was causing problem politically to people, to Athens at that particular time. So now, if we check through all that time, from the beginning, from Thales time and until 529 CE, so we will see all that. So now, how many years are those? So now from 640 to, because we have to count 640, 639, 638, 637, 636. So we have to count downward. So we are going to have 500 and about 360 years. So 360 years plus 529 years. 360 plus 529. So that will give us first of all, we have 860. Let's agree that we have 39. So we have 869. Yeah, so 860, 70, 79. Approximately 1,000 years, let's say. So throughout the 1,000 years of 889 years, all right? So all these eras, all these years are divided into 4 stages. And in these 4 stages, the focus and area of philosophy was not the same. For example, in the first stage, it was a focus on at-tabi'a. On the second stage, it was a focus on al-insan. On the third stage, it was focused on al-akhlaq. Then and then and then. So كان موضوع الفلسفة يتغير في كل مرحلة منها. The scope and concern of philosophy was different from one era to the other, from one period to the other. It was not the same. Now that we have known that the era, yani مرحلة القديمة, is divided into four. Now we treat it one by one. ففي المرحلة الأولى, what was the focus? What is the name that we can give to it? So the name that we can give to the مرحلة الأولى is مرحلة ما قبل سقراط. المرحلة ما قبل سقراط. So very simply, it is pre-Socratic era. Pre-Socratic, yani before Socrates. Now, من هم الفلاسفة في ذلك الوقت؟ كثير منهم. There are many. So the most famous, starting from Thalys al-Ayuni, the Thalys of Ionic, because he was born and bred and grew up there. He practiced philosophy at that place. That is why we call him Thalys al-Ayuni. Just like someone who is from Terengganu, then he could become a near a Terenggani. Okay? So that is ما قبل سقراط. Now, apart from Thalys, يوجد أيضا فلاسفة وعلماء مثل Pythagoras ومثل Anaxagoras ومثل Anaximander ومثل Anaximenes ومثل Parmenides وأمثالهم كثير. So we have a lot of them there. ولكل منهم قول في الفلسفة. Each of them has their own opinion and statement and views about the definition of philosophy. So now we read. ففي المرحلة الأولى, to the first stage, وهي ما تعرف في تاريخ الفلسفة, we call this in the history of philosophy, we identify it as مرحلة ما قبل سقراط, the pre-Socratic era. So at this era, كان الفلاسفة يعنون بدراسة الكون الطبيعي. كان الفلاسفة يعنون بدراسة الكون الطبيعي. So philosophers at that time, they were concerned about the study of nature, al-kawn al-tabi'i, the natural creation. They were concerned, their focus, their problem was about the nature, natural evolvement. How did things evolve? وما يتألف منه هذا الكون من العناصر. So their focus was on the components of the creation. The components. Okay, ما يتألف منه هذا الكون. So the components that make up the creation, such as the عناصر. So the study of the elements. What are the elements? the four major basic elements of creation: al-ma'u, at-turabu, al-hawa'u, wan-naru. هذه هي العناصر الأساسية الأربعة للكون أو للأشياء حتى. So these are the four basic principles of everything: water, the soil, the breeze or the air, and the fire. Al-ma'u, at-turabu, al-hawa'u, wan-naru. So these were the focus of study of the ancient scholars in the Greek. Okay? ويحاولون معرفة الأصل الذي نشأ عنه هذا العالم الطبيعي المحسوس. They wanted to understand, they wanted to know. يحاولون معرفة الأصل. They were trying to know, they attempted to know the source, al-aslu, the source, the foundation, the basic, الذي نشأ عنه هذا العالم الطبيعي المحسوس, through which this physical phenomena is made and is evolved. In a very simple English, they wanted to know the source of the physical phenomena. وإن كانوا قد اختلفوا فيما بينهم في تعيين ذلك الأصل. Although they disagree among themselves concerning ذلك الأصل, that specific source and fundamental. So each of them have their different opinions. Yeah, but their major focus, their major concern was about al-aslu, aslul ashya, the source of everything, the basic principles of every object. So that was their concern. Now, what is the name of that object? Each of them have their own different opinions and views. فهو الماء كما قال ثالث. According to Thales, الذي كان أول من أجاب على هذا السؤال اقترح أن أصل الكون الطبيعي هو الماء. So he opined, he gave his own view and opinion that the source of everything is water. That is according to Thales. So when we come to Anaximenes, Thales, okay, Thales, Anaximenes, okay. So when we come to Anaximenes, he said it is al-hawa, okay, al-hawa, it is air, breeze, okay, according to Anaximenes. When we come to Pythagoras, Pythagoras, okay, sometimes you find Pythagoras with RAS, and sometimes you find it with RUS. Okay, it is both. Pythagoras atau Pythagoras. It is the same, and some people also spell it with O. It was not an English word, it was brought into English. All of them. Thales, Anaximenes, Pythagoras. So according to Pythagoras, the source of everything is al-adad. Numbers, counting, point, the point, okay? Not even zero, point. Because everything starts from a point. From that point, goes on and comes back to the same point. So from that point, we form 1. From the point, we form 2. From the point, we form 3. From the point, we form for any number that we have, we start from point. So that was the opinion and idea of Pythagoras. Everything starts aslul ashya wal adad. Now, when we go to Democritus, okay, Democritus, okay, Democritus. Okay, when we go to Democritus, so he has a different opinion. He says it is a dharra. Dharra. What is that dharra? Atom. Okay, it says the source of everything is an atom. Atom. Now, ma hiya ad-dharra. For us to understand, we go into ayah of Quran. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. So dharra is, some people say it is mustard seed. Mustard seed. Mustard seed because it is very, very small. But again, mustard seed is, we can see it by our eye. We can see it, we can pound it, even if it is small. So that is not a dharra. A dharra is أصغر شيء في الوجود الذي لا يقبل تجزؤ أو تقسيم إلا أي تقسيم أكثر. The smallest thing in the creation that cannot be splitted or divided into any other division. The smallest thing that can never be divided. هذا ما يسمى بatoms in science, الذرة. وهذه الذرة لا يرى بالعين العارية. So this atom cannot be seen by the naked eyes. We cannot hold it because we don't even know. So now, for you, let me explain what is a dharra for you so that you can understand. In the morning, when the sun rises, okay, when the sun rises in the morning, if you can open the window of your room or of your house to let the sun pass through the window into your house, all right? So you open the window a little bit, let the ray of the sunlight comes into your room, into your house. Now, you stay at an angle and look directly into the ray of the sunlight that came into your house. Inside that ray of sunlight, you are going to notice some moving particles, some very, 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 very small particles. If you go there, you put your hand there, there's nothing there. But if you stay at an angle, you are looking from afar, you're going to see some things moving around that shining sunlight. Like some particles are moving together, mixing together, and all that. That shows inside your house that you are living, there are billions of particles in that house of yours, but you cannot see them, and you breathe them inside your nose every minute. Now, that particle that you can see through the ray of the sunlight, that is also not atom. We call it particles. Now, as small as it is, because you can see it through the sun, the ray of the sunlight, it is still not atom. Atom, if it is atom, you cannot see it at all. Through the sun ray, the ray of the sunlight. Okay, so the meaning of that is, according to Democritus, the principle أصل الأشياء هو الذرة وهذه الذرة ليست لها لون معين ولا شكل معين ولا صفة معينة. So this atom does not have a specific shape, no specific odor, no specific color. You cannot identify it. The only way you can see it is through microscope. Okay, so that is, now we have a lot of scholars that say a lot of things. So we have those who say at-turab. We have those who say an-naru. Okay, so now وهكذا كانت أنظار الباحثين في هذه المرحلة تتجه إلى الكون الطبيعي وتتخذه موضوعا لتفكيرها. So that was how the views and opinions of the researchers and scholars of that time, of that era, أي مرحلة, which era? Do you remember? Which era is that? المرحلة ما قبل سقراط, the pre-Socratic era. So that was how the opinions and the thoughts and the ideas and the views of the scholars of that era تتجه إلى الكون الطبيعي was focused and directed towards the natural creation. وتتخذه موضوعا لتفكيرها, and they took the natural creation as the focus of their thought, of their philosophy. Now, كيف نعرف الفلسفة في هذه المرحلة? Okay, now the question is, how can we define philosophy of that era? Now, let's take it simply again. What was the focus of the era? Al-Kawn al-Tabi'i. We are here. So everyone, every scholar, they were concerned about Aslul Ashiya'i. Okay, some of them said the source of everything was water. Some of them believe it was number. Some of them believe it was air. Some of them believe it was soil. Some of them believe it was fire. Some of them believe it was atom. And some of them even believe it was nothingness. La mahdud, as we're going to see sometime later. So now, it is very simple to give a definition of philosophy at that time. وَلِذَا تُعْرَفُ الْفَلْسَفَةُ في هذا العصر بأنها البحث النظري في العالم الطبيعي وتعليل ظواهر الوجود. So this is the definition of the philosophy at that particular time. What is this definition again? البحث النظري في العالم الطبيعي وتعليل ظواهر الوجود. The study, if you want to understand, replace al-bahth with dirasa. Then it becomes dirasatu nazariya fil alam al-tabi'i. You want to understand, you can replace al-alam with al-kawn al-tabi'i. Now, if you want to understand better, you remove al-alam and at-tabi'i, then you replace with at-tabi'a. Then you say ad-dirasatu an-nazariyya fi at-tabi'a. Wa ta'lilu, ta'lilu is taken from illa, the cause, the source, aslu. Wa ta'lilu, finding the cause, zawahir al-wujud, for the phenomena, for the physical phenomena. So philosophy at that time is defined as the theoretical study, dirasatu nazariya, al-bahsu nazari, theoretical. Why do we call it theoretical? Because there was no laboratory, no practical. Okay, so everyone was just saying and saying and saying. Okay, al-bahsu nazari fil alam al-tabi'i, the theoretical study of natural creation and looking for the cause, because there is C-A-U-S-E, C-A-U-S-E, cause, Talil. Okay, seeking for the cause of the physical phenomena. Physical phenomena, yani everything that we see, that is what we call physical phenomena. Al-ashiya'ul mur'iyya, things that we see around us, things that we hear around us, things that we feel, things that we smell, things that we taste. Yani al-ashiya'u al-ma'rufa an tariq al-hawas al-khamsa, things that we use our five senses to know. So this is what we call zawahir al-wujud, physical phenomena. Okay, I write it in the chat. Physical phenomena. Phenomena. Physical phenomena. Okay, that is zawahir. Zahira, singular of phenomena is phenomenon. Phenomenon. All right, that is singular. Okay, now, so that is the definition. هذا هو التعريف للفلسفة في المرحلة الأولى. This is the definition of philosophy in the first era, in the Al-Qudama, in the ancient period. Before we go to the مرحلة الثانية, هل هناك سؤال? Do you have any question, anything that you don't understand in what we have said? So we're going to break for 1-2 minutes. Kalau ada soalan-soalan atau apa yang kurang faham, so you boleh tanya, insyaAllah. All right, if there's anything, 1-2 minutes before we proceed to Marhala Thaniya. All right, I think there is no question, right? All right, we'll proceed to stage number 2. Okay, Tapis belong to, we revise Siki Jablagi. So, what is the name of the first era? Man huwa al-ismu alladhi yutlaqu ala al-marhalati al-ula min marahil al-falsafati al-qadima. Do you still remember? Marhalatu ma qabla Socrates. Are we here? Pre-Socratic era. Man hum al-falasifa al-madhkura لهذه المرحلة? Who were the philosophers that were mentioned, that we just mentioned for that era? So we mentioned Thales, right? We mentioned Anaximenes, all right? So we mentioned Pythagoras, okay? And we also mentioned, who else did we mention? Democritus, right? Now, what was the opinion of Thales about Aslul Ashya? He said Aslul Ashya is Al-Ma'u. Okay, So you go to Anaximenes. What was his opinion? Al-Hawa Urai. So you go to Pythagoras. What was his opinion? His opinion was Al-Adadu. Then you go to Democritus. What was his opinion? His opinion was Al-Dharra. Now the definition is what? Al-Bahthu an-Nazari fil alam at-tabi'i wa ta'lil zawahir al-wujud. Is that understood? Any questions there? Now we move to مرحلة الثانية. وفي المرحلة الثانية وهي ما تعرف في تاريخ الفلسفة بعصر السوفسطائيين أو عصر السقراطي أو عصر السوفسطائيين والسقراطي. So the second stage, the second era under Al-Qadim is what we identify in the history of philosophy as the sophist era, okay, or the Socratic era, or Sophisto-Socratic era. I'm not sure whether we are here. I'm not sure whether we are here. Yeah, thank you, Aina. So that was Anaximenes. Okay, shukran. Now, are we sure we are here in the class? So if we are still in the class here, maybe I should ask us to open our camera, right? Because I want to see everyone's face. Okay. The second era, there could be three names, okay? Three names, but it is the same thing. We can call it sophist era, that is number one. Number two, we can call it Socratic era. You can call it Socratic era. Number three, we can call it Sophistocratic, okay? Sophistocratic era. Now, what is the Apamaxot Sophistocratic too? So that is combination of Sophist and Socrates. Okay, so either of the three is correct. You can call it Astrosophistaein, that is good. You can call it Astrosocrates, that is also good. Then you can call it Astrosophistaein or Socrates. We are here? Now, so this was the era in philosophy that we identify as the Sophistocratic era. تدرج التفكير اليوناني حيث انتقل من الطبيعة إلى الإنسان. So تدرج التفكير اليوناني. تدرج بمعنى تطور. So التفكير اليوناني. So the Greek thought, the Greek ideology, the Greek philosophy has improved. It has developed. It has advanced. Because before this, in the pre-Socratic, it was only focusing about nature, right? But now, in Takola Mina Tobi'a, it changes. So it has changed. It has moved from the study of Tobi'a ila dirasatil insan to the study of man, about humanity. In the pre-Socratic era, the focus of study was at Tobi'a, natural phenomena. But since that was settled at that era, so there is no need to focus on that anymore. We have settled with that. Now, the Sophistocratic era, the major focus of them is al-insan wa ma yattasilu bihi min af'ali aqliyya wa khuluqiyya. and anything connected to man, whether it is rational activity or moral activity. Okay, so by this, the focus موضوع الفلسفة في المرحلة الثانية عند القدماء كان الإنسان وما يتصل به من أفعال عقلية وخلقية. Okay, so man and anything about him. Okay, anything that connected to man, that has to do with man, such as rational activity or moral activity. Moral activity is also behavior, ethics, ethical activity. Okay, so وفي تلك المرحلة, okay, now you want to ask, and the question that you want to ask is من هم الفلاسفة في هذا العصر? Who were the philosophers at this period? Now it is very simple for you to know. So the sophists and Socrates. من هم السوفيست؟ سوفسطائيون من هم جماعة من العلماء، جماعة من الفلاسفة يدعون معرفة الأشياء معرفة تامة. So we are going to mention some of them later. So ففي تلك المرحلة درس فلاسفة اليونان قوى الإنسان الباطنية. So at that stage يعني أي مرحلة؟ المرحلة الثانية Sophistocratic era. الفلاسفة اليونانية, so the Greek philosopher at that time درسوا قوى الإنسان الباطنية. They studied the internal strength of man, the internal ability and capacity of man, such as fikri wa irada, the human thought and human desire, human wish, human intention. So this was the focus. This was what they studied. And على ذلك سؤال عن لماذا كان الإنسان رئيس الكون? Why is man considered the master of the creation? لماذا نقول أن الإنسان رئيس الكون? Why do we assume that man is the master of creation? Man is the controller of creation. What makes man think that way? Okay? وما هو الشيء الذي يميز الإنسان عن بقية الأشياء? What makes man different from all other things? So this was the focus of the philosophers at that particular time. Okay? So درس فلاسفة اليونان هو الإنسان الباطنية من فكر وإرادة وغيرهما. So the Greek philosophers studied the internal strength of man, such as his thoughts, his desires, and other things. وعمل كل قوة من هذه القوة. And they also studied the duty of each ability, the duty of each power of man. What is the duty of human intellect, human thought? What is the duty of human desire? So what is the duty of human behavior? What is the duty of humans al-quwa, al-riyasiyya, the political power, the leadership power? What are the duties? What are the purpose of them? هناك في هذا العصر ظهرت مبادئ المنطق والأخلاق والنفس. So it was at this era, at this time, the second stage, it was this era that مبادئ المنطق, the principles of منطق, مبادئ يعني بداية المنطق, Okay, it was this era that mantiq was introduced. Dirasatul akhlaq, ethics, was introduced. One nafsu, and the study of what we call psychology. The study of psychology, human soul. So it was this era that it started. Mantiq. How does man speak? Where does the speech of man come from? Al-akhlaq. How does man behave the way he behaves? How should we relate with each other? Families or family members, society members, compound members, friends, leaders, the juniors and seniors, so, and also an-nafs. They were also concerned and thought about this, the nafs al-insan. Is the nafsu part of man? Can we see it? Is it an object or a spirit? So هذه هي التساؤلات بعض التساؤلات التي ركز عليها فلاسفة اليونانية في هذه المرحلة. Okay, so now we want to mention some of the philosophers at that particular time. ومن فلاسفة اليونان الذين عنوا بهذه المبادئ. Some of the Greek philosophers or scholars who concentrated on these principles. Okay, ayu mabadi, what principle? Mabadi ul mantiq, mabadi ul akhlaq, or mabadi ul an-nafs. The principle of rationality, the principle of ethic, the principle of psychology, of soul. So the name of some of them, number one, Sophistaiyun, the sophist. Now, when we say sophist, in Damanakul Sophistaiyun, Tufahum Majmu'atun min al-ulama. It is not the name of a particular scholar. It is a name that is identified for a group of scholars. Alladhina min ashharihim Protagoras. Okay, alladhina min ashharihim Protagoras Wahayas. So the most famous of them, okay, are Protagoras and Hayas. Protagoras. Protagoras. Okay, Protagoras. Okay, to be R-U-S. What is it calling? What is calling? Never mind. Never mind. Someone is calling. Okay. Ishola BTC. Who is Ishola BTC? Please let me answer this call. It is an international call. I will join. All right, I think we can continue. Sorry for the distraction. I thought it was going to be good to answer the caller for now, but since it's not a serious calling. Now, we were talking about Protagoras. So the spelling could end with RAS or RUS or ROS, just like the Pythagoras that we mentioned earlier. So وَقَدْ جَعَلُوا مِن مُهِمَّتِهِمْ أن يعلموا الشباب الآثيني. Okay. وقد جعلوا من مهمتهم أن يعلموا الشباب الآثيني. Okay. Shabab al-Atheni, the Athenian citizens, the Athenian citizens, the Athenian citizens, the youth. So, وَقَدْ جَعَلُوا مِن مُهِمَّتِهِ, one of their focuses that they do is تعليم الشباب الأثيني, teaching the Athens, teaching the citizens, the youth, بلاغة القول وفنون الخطابة والمهارة في الصنعة والحرفة. So they specialized on teaching the youth بلاغة القول, the communication, the act of communication, okay, the act of rhetorics, rhetorics, how to be fluent in speaking and writing and debate, وفنون الخطابة, and also in communication, the art of communication. Okay, al-khitaba, talking, speaking habit. وَالْمَحَارَةُ فِي الصُّنْعَةِ, they were also teaching them skills, okay, skills in menial skills. وَالْحِرْفَةِ, handiworks. So they were also teaching them handiworks. التي يقوم بها المحترف والصانع, that the artists and the such like carpenters, bricklayers, furnitures. Okay, وصار المقصود من الفلسفة عند هؤلاء السوفسطائيين هو العمل النظري الممارس الذي يقصد منه الغلبة على الخصم بالحق أو بالباطل. So by this, المقصود من الفلسفة, the meaning of philosophy in the هؤلاء السوفسطائيين, to these sophist people, the sophist scholar, is, so according to them, from their perspective, their understanding of philosophy is that philosophy is al-amalun nazari, the theoretical activities, al-mumaris, okay, the al-mumaras, a perfect theoretical activities, training, okay, theoretical training, alladhi yuqsadu minhu al-ghalaba, that is meant to overpower each other, okay, that is meant to suppress the enemy, the opponents, either bil-haqqi aw bil-batil, either using the true defense or using false defense. Meaning to say, any way that you can use to overpower and win your argument with anybody. So that is the purpose of al-falsafa to them. So by these to them, so they can define philosophy according to Sufista'iyun as al-amalu nazariyu al-mumaras alladhi yuqsadu minhu al-ghalabata ala al-khasmi bil-haqqi aw bil-batil. Now, apart from these sophist people, scholars, أظهر شخصية عرفت في هذا العصر هي شخصية سقراط. So في هذا العصر, at that same era, أظهر شخصية, there was another personality. There was another personality, عرفت, okay, that was identified. What is the name? هي شخصية سقراط. So that was the personality of Socrates. فهو وإن اتفق مع السوفسطائيين في توجيه البحث الفلسفي إلى الإنسان بدلا من الطبيعة إلا أنه خالفهم في إثبات حقائق الأشياء. Although he also اتفق مع السوفسطائيين, he agreed with the sophist scholars في توجيه البحث الفلسفي إلى الإنسان, by directing a philosophical study and attention to the study of man بدلا من الطبيعة, instead of studying the nature and creation. He agreed with them that now we should focus our attention on man. Okay? But خالفهم, he disagreed with them في إثبات حقائق الأشياء, about the concept of reality, the concept of establishing the reality of things. How do we know the truth of things and the reality of things? Hakikatul Ashia. So he disagreed with them. He disagreed with the way they were teaching the youth that you can get your right either in the right way or in the wrong way. You can use anything in your power to attack your opponents and your enemies. So he disagreed with that. He doesn't like that. And also, the sophists, they claim to know everything. So Socrates disagreed with them by saying that no one has the ability and capacity to know everything. No, you cannot claim the knowledge of everything. So these are the things. So he agreed with them that, yes, let's focus our attention now from the nature study to human study. He agreed with them that now let's focus on human study. But the other areas, he disagreed with them. وَقَدْ كَانُوا يُنْكِرُونَهَا كَمَا أَنَّهُ وَجَّهَ الْفَلْسَفَةَ إِلَى دِرَاسَةٍ. Okay, so the sophists كانوا ينكرون حقائق إثبات الأشياء. So they disagree, they attack, they don't like the study of the reality of things. كما أنه وجه الفلسفة إلى دراسة الإنسان لنفسه. So he also redirects the focus of philosophy towards the study of man himself. ومعرفة الحق والعدل والخير. And also towards the study of the truth, the understanding of what is truth, what is justice, and what is good. ودراسة هذه المبادئ الخلقية دراسة نظرية. Okay. ودراسة هذه المبادئ الخلقية دراسة نظرية مبنية على المنطق مدعمة بالعقل. So this study of ethical principles, okay, the principles of ethics. So this study about principles of ethics, it is dirasatun nazariya. It was also a theoretical study, mabniyatun ala al-mantiqa, which was developed by using mantiq, okay, which was developed based on the principle of logic, muda'amatun bil aqli, supported by the rationality of man. أي أن الفلسفة عند سقراط قد اشتملت على تحديد معنى الحق وعلى توضيح معنى الخير والعدل. So the meaning of that is, from the time of Socrates, the meaning of philosophy, okay, the definition of philosophy, the concept of philosophy has comprised, okay, tahdid mana al-haq, the study and the knowledge about the meaning of the truth, wa ala tawdihi mana al-khair wal-adl, and the clarification of what is the meaning of good and justice. So walidha, therefore, based on that, تعرف الفلسفة عند سقراط بأنها البحث عن الحقائق بحثا نظريا وعن المبادئ الأخلاقية من خير وعدل وفضيلة. So by this, we can define philosophy according to Socratic understanding as al-bahthu anil haqa'iqi, the study of the facts. Okay, searching about the facts. Bahthan nazariyan, in a theoretical way. Okay, you can say al-bahthu nazari anil haqa'iq. Then you will be okay. Al-bahthu nazari anil haqa'iq. Okay, al-bahthu an-nazari anil haqa'iq, theoretical study of the facts. That is one. It is also al-bahthu anil mabadi al-akhlaqiyya, the study of the ethical principles, or the study of principles of ethics, such as the study of what is good, the study of what is just, the study of what is virtuous, the virtues. So that is the definition according to Socrates. Now, what about the sophists? So this is the definition about according to the sophists. Al-amalu nazari al-mumaras alladhi yuqsad minhu al-ghalaba ala al-khasmi bil-haqi aw bil-batil. According to Socrates, al-bahsu an al-haqa'iqi bahsan nazariya, yani al-bahsu nazari an al-haqa'iqi wal-bahsu an al-mabadi al-akhlaqiyya min khayrin wa adlin wa fadila. So that is stage number 2. All right? Now, أما في المرحلة الثالثة من مراحل الفلسفة اليونانية فقد اتسع نطاق الفلسفة على يد أفلاطون أولا. Now, before we go into number 3, any question about stage number 2? So just a very quick revision. The مرحلة الثانية, we can call it 3 names, any of the 3 names. Number 1, مرحلة السوفسطائيون. Number 2, مرحلة السقراطية. Number 3, مرحلة السوفسطائيين والسقراط. So it could be Sophist era, Socratic era, or Sophistocratic era. So any of the 3 is the name of the second era. Are we here? But most popularly, people call it and identify it as Socratic era. Because the previous one, the first one, is pre-Socratic. All right? So then the second one should be Socratic. All right? But it is open. It is open. All right. So that is another point in that era is that we have 2 definitions. We have 2 definitions. تعريف عند السوفسطائيين وتعريف عند السقراط. Another point in that era is that كلمة سوفسطائيون لا يطلق على شخص معين. the word, the term sophist is not the name of any particular scholar. We are here. It is not the name of any particular scholar. بل اسم أطلق على مجموعة من العلماء من الفلاسفة. So it is a name that is used to identify a group of scholars, a group of philosophers. Okay, that is another point in that era. Okay, so فالآن انتقالا إلى المرحلة الثالثة. I think someone opened the door. Someone there? Okay, sorry, I thought I heard someone knocking on the door. Okay. أما في المرحلة الثالثة من مراحل الفلسفة اليونانية فقد اتسع نطاق الفلسفة على يد أفلاطون أولا ثم على يد تلميذه أرسطو بعد ذلك. In the third era, في المرحلة الثالثة, in the third era of the Greek philosophical period, فقد اتسع نطاق الفلسفة. نطاق الفلسفة بمعنى موضوعات الفلسفة. The strength, the scope of philosophy has become wide, has advanced, has become wider. لقد اتسع نطاق الفلسفة. So the scope and areas of philosophy have become wider. First, by Plato, and secondly, by his disciple, by his disciple, you can also call it student, disciple, disciple, I'm not sure whether this is the correct spelling of disciple. Please check disciple. Okay, and secondly, firstly, it was advanced by Plato, and secondly, by his disciple and student Aristotle. فبعد أن كان موضوع الفلسفة هو الكون المادي عند الطبيعيين، وكان عبارة عن دراسة الإنسان من النواحي العقلية والخلقية عند سقراط. The calling is disturbing. The calling is disturbing. Please, can you stop the calling for now? Anyway, فبعد أن كان موضوع الفلسفة هو الكون المادي, in the first era, the focus and the scope of philosophy was the material creation, al-kawn al-madi. Okay? This al-kawn al-madi is the same as at-tabi'a. Don't be confused. Okay, at-tabi'a. According to at-tabi'iyin. So now, those scholars who studied al-kawn al-madi wa tabi'a, we call them at-tabi'iyuna, the naturalists. Naturalists, لأنهم يركزون على دراسة الطبيعة, because they focus on the study of nature. So we call them naturalists. Are we here? So that was the focus of the first generation. Now, the second generation, كان عبارة عن دراسة الإنسان. It was about the study of man من النواحي العقلية والخلقية. So from the perspective of rationality and morality, so according to Socrates and the sophists. So these, we can call them, because they focus on the Dirasatul Insan, we call them Insaniyuna. We call them Insaniyuna. So Insaniyuna, so they were also Aqliyuna wal Khuluqiyuna. So the rationalists, Subhanallah, it is disconnected, right? Okay. Aina, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, but why is it disconnecting? The network is fluctuating. All right, I reconnect again. All right, I just share this only. Now, can you see the screen?
Yes, Ustaz.
Alhamdulillah. So, بعد أن كان موضوع الفلسفة هو الكون المادي عند الطبيعيين. After the time when philosophy focuses on the material creation according to the naturalist, وكان عبارة عن دراسة الإنسان, and after being an expression of the study of man from the aspect of his rationality and morality according to Socrates, أصبح عند أفلاطون هو البحث عن الجواهر الثابتة أو الكائنات الحقيقية أو المثل كما يسميها هو. So now, during the time of Plato, in the Aflatun, according to Plato, in the time of Plato, أصبح الفلسفة هو البحث عن الجواهر الثابتة. So it now became the study of the constant substances, al-jawahir al-thabita, permanent, constant substance, constant object, al-jawahir, al-ashya al-thabita, things that don't change, things that are permanent, that are not temporary. In other words, it is al-bahthu an al-kainat al-haqiqiyya, the study of the real things, the real or the original things, the reality of things. Okay. For example, when we say al-ma'u, water, what is water? What makes water water? يعني ما هو الأشياء التي تجعل الماء ماءً? What are the components and the things and the properties that make water to be water, different from another liquid? The reality of things. Al-kainatul haqiqiyya, the real things. Al-mithlu. Al-mithlu, imitation. Okay, imitation. Now, I will explain what is al-mithliya in the concept of Plato here. According to Plato, everything we see, including ourselves, is an imitation. كل ما نرى أو ما في حوالينا حتى نحن أنفسنا فهي أجسام مثلية. أجسام مثلية. According to Plato, everything that we see around us, everything that surrounds us, such as the things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we taste, the things that we smell, the things that we feel, even ourselves, all of it are just imitations. فالآن ما هو المقصود بالمثل? What is the concept? What does he mean by imitation? Imitation is a philosophical word in a very simple English, photocopy. All right, I type it, photocopy. Photocopy. He believes that everything that we see around us, everything around us in the creation, including ourselves, is just photocopy. Now, I hope you understand that. Now, when you take, for example, this certificate, for example, when you take this certificate, you take it to the photocopy shop. You give them this one. They put it in the machine. They bring out, they can print several copies of this, even 1,000, 2,000, several thousands of this they can print. But you have just one original copy, right? You have just one original copy. And that one original copy, it has to be kept safe and the same, constant, relevant all the time. So we can have a lot of photocopies. So he believes that everything is photocopy of the original. فَأَيْنَ الْأَصْلُ? Where is the original of things? We don't know. It is in a world that is above us that we do not know. We cannot see, we cannot feel, we cannot hear, we can only rationalize the word. Rationalize the word, b'mana, we can only think about the word, about that life, that word, where the original things are. They are not accessible to us physically. So he believes that, for example, okay, I take myself for example for now, right? Near. Now, if you want to ask yourself, hello, you can see me now. So if I ask you the question, aina near? Where is near? You can say, oh, this is near. هذا near. لكن هل في الحقيقة what you are pointing at as near هذا الشخص أمامك هل في الحقيقة هو near? So in reality, So that person that you see in front of you, is he really the near that you think you are pointing at? Is he the real near that you are pointing at? I will make it very simple for you now. Now, let I give myself example here. Yani masala ana near. Now you ask me, where am I? I say, who am I? Then I say, I am near. Okay, saya nama saya near kan? Saya near. So, near, can you touch yourself? Then I touch, oh, this is me. Then Plato says, لا هذا ليس بنير هذا رأس نير هذا رأس أو جبهة نير. This is the forehead of Nir. Oh, really? This is not Nir. This is the forehead of Nir. هذا عين نير. This is the eye. This is the eye of Nir. هذا خد نير. This is the cheek of Nir. هذا فمه. This is the mouth of Nir. This is the udhun of Nir. This is the head of Nir. This is hand of Nir. This is chest of Nir. This is batnu Nir. This is zohru Nir. This is fakhdu Nir. This is rijli Nir. So all these are belonging to Nir. Fa'ayna Nir. So this is the head of Nir. So this is the neck of Nir. This is the chest of Nir. This is the back of Nir. This is the shoulder. This is the arm. This is the leg. This is the thigh. This is the toes. This is this. This is all about Nir. Where is Nir? So this is what Plato means by everything that Nir has is just a photocopy. The original Nir is another word that we cannot access. هذا هو نظرية المثلية عند أفلاطون. So this is the theory of imitation of Plato. All right? Believing that things that we see around us are just photocopies of the original thing that are at another word that we cannot access. Now, another example that he gives about the mislia here is that when we were born as a baby, if we have the opportunity of seeing our pictures when we were born as a baby, if they took our pictures at that time, they put us in this small wrap of cloth. They call it shawl. Shawl. They put us in shawl. Shawl. That white or that small cloth that they put the babies in, shawl. So they wrapped us in shawl, took our picture. So we started growing 1 month. They start taking our pictures. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. We entered Tadeka. From there we graduated. We go to primary 1, primary 2, primary 3. We go to all these pictures together. Now we are 30-something years, or we are 20-something years, let's say. 20-something years. Now we take the picture, we compile all these pictures together. The question is, which of these pictures is the original us? I'm not sure whether you understand this. If you have all the pictures that they have taken for you all these years, and you take another picture today of yourself, and you put all those pictures together, which of this picture is original you? You can say, oh, all are me, but all the pictures are different. Because if you bring someone from outside your family and you show them all the pictures and ask them, can you pick which picture is me? He will pick the recent one that you just snapped today or this recent time. The other one we say, oh, maybe these ones are your brothers or your sisters, your family. This were not you. This is the only one that is you. But you know that, your parents also know that the person in that picture is you. All the pictures are you. Now, which of them is original? All right. So you, when you were in Sadiqa, you had the same spirit of this is me, me. And when you grew up to graduate to primary 1, primary 2, so you still have the same spirit. So, but the pictures, your body, your external form, it changes. Where is the real, but you feel that it is still real you. But the pictures and the body, the physicality change. Now, which physicalities is exactly the true representation of you? So the real representation of you is at another word, alamul mithli, as an imitative word, the word that cannot be assessed by our senses. We can only assess it rationally. So that is the theory. We're going to talk much about that. I believe when you were taking Al-Falsafatu Yunaniya, you have taken a lot of that. Okay, so I believe you have taken a lot of that. I mean, on that concept. So by that, just to explain, ما هي المقصودة بنظرية المثل. So this نظرية المثل. One more ada apa? Ada soalan ke? One more. Okay. Maybe salah tekan mic. All right. So that is just the concept of imitation. Okay, the concept of imitation. All right, just to refresh your mind from what you have learned when you were studying Falsafatul Yunaniya. Now, Asbaha inda Aflatun. So after philosophy was about nature, then about the sun, okay, according to Plato. According to Socrates, so أصبح عند أفلاطون هو البحث عن الجواهر الثابتة. So don't be confused. Al-Jawahir al-Thabita is the same as Al-Kainat al-Hakikiya. So this Al-Kainat al-Hakikiya is the same as Al-Mithlu. Okay? You can use any of the terms. All right? But Plato prefers to use Al-Mithlu. Kama Yusamiha, as he identifies it. Okay? وهذه الجواهر أو المثل ليست محسوسة. Now we are here. هذه الجواهر, these substances of Plato, or what he calls imitations, ليست محسوسة. They are not physical. محسوسة يعني you cannot feel them. They are not something that we can see with our eyes. They are not things that we can hear with our ear. And they are not something that we can smell with our nose. That they are not something that we can taste with our tongue. They are not something that we can feel with our skin. ليست محسوسة. They are not sensibles. بل هي موجودات مجردة عن المادة. So what he calls this jawahir and al-misli, they are موجودات, يعني they exist مجردة عن المادة, without any material, without any form, without any body, without any object. So that is what we call immaterial. So they are بل هي موجودات مجردة عن المادة. So they are immaterial things. They are immaterial things. Where is the chat? Immaterial. 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 Immaterial and not material. Non-material. Okay? So they are موجودات مجردة عن المادة. They are immaterial things. كما أن أفلاطون جعل من الخير والجمال موضوعا من موضوعات الفلسفة. So similarly, Plato, during his time, he made al-khair wal-jamal, the study of goods, the study of beauty, he makes them a focus of philosophy, a study, a subject, a scope inside philosophy. So by that, وإذن فقد أصبحت الفلسفة عند أفلاطون تدرس أشياء مختلفة. So now, therefore, we can see that according to Plato, philosophy was studying ashya and mukhtalifa, various things, not only at-tabi'ah, not only al-insan, not only al-akhlaq, not only al-aql, it was studying variety of things. بعضها يتعلق بما بعد الطبيعة. Some of them, some of the areas of philosophy, according to Plato, was ما بعد الطبيعة, metaphysics, things that are beyond nature. وبعضها الآخر يتعلق بالأخلاق. And some areas of philosophy, according to Plato, are connected to ethics. لتوجيه سلوك الإنسان, in order to train humans' behaviors towards al-khairi. So by this, we can define philosophy according to Aristotle as al-bahthu an al-umur al-azaliyati. Okay, that is number one. So by this, we can define philosophy according to Plato as number one, al-bahthu an al-umur al-azaliyah, the study of the principal things, al-umur al-azaliyah, principal objects. Okay, principal things, yani basic things, the source of things, the origin of things, the study of the principal objects. That is number one. We can also define philosophy according to Plato as ma'rifatu haqa'iqul ashiya'i, the study about the reality of things. That is number two, right? Number three, we can also define philosophy according to Plato as ma'rifatul khayri lil insan, the study and understanding of what is good for man. So these are the definition. هذه هي التعريفات المختصة بأفلاطون. البحث عن الأمور الأزلية أو معرفة حقائق الأشياء أو معرفة الخير للإنسان. All these are the definitions during the time of Plato. Okay? Now, ولما جاء أرسطوطاليس, when Aristotle came, okay, لما جاء أرسطوطاليس استمر في توسيع نطاق الفلسفة حتى صار موضوعها يشمل كل معرفة إنسانية. Are we here? Okay. Can you still hear me? Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Haina. So, now, when Aristotle came, now, don't be confused with this Aristotelis. Okay, Aristotelis. Okay, and another one, Aristu. Okay, so it is either written in Aristu or Aristotelis. Aristoteles. Okay, Aristotelis. Aristotelis. Okay, Aristotelis originally, but because we have tote, so then we call it Aristo. Then, to make it simpler, we call it Aristotle. Aristotle. So those are all the names. Now, after that, okay, after that, استمر في توسيع نطاق الفلسفة. So Aristotle, when he came, he expanded the scope of philosophy. He further expanded the scope of philosophy, the areas of philosophy. حتى صار موضوعها, until the area of philosophy and the focus of philosophy was يشمل كل معرفة إنسانية, was comprises of all human knowledge, whether biology, chemistry, physics, nature, agriculture, anything about human knowledge. So he expanded philosophy to comprise and to combine all human knowledge. بعبارة أخرى, أصبحت الفلسفة مرادفة لمعنى العلم. So in other words, philosophy has become synonymous to science during the time of Aristotle. Philosophy has become what is science, and science has become what is philosophy. So when we mention falsafa, we are talking of science. When we're talking of science, we're talking of al-falsafa. وهذه هي الفلسفة عند أرسطو بمعناها العام. So this is the meaning, this is the general meaning of philosophy according to Aristotle. Philosophy is science, and science is knowledge. And under it, يندرج تحتها جميع العلوم. All other sciences, all other disciplines, and all other areas are included under philosophy, such as al-mantiq, al-ma'rifah, at-tabi'ah, ma wara'u at-tabi'ah, al-akhlaq, as-siyasa. Okay, so anything is under philosophy. Al-mantiq, logic, knowledge, nature, metaphysics, Okay, Tabi'a is physics. You can call it nature or physics. Okay, because we have Mawara Tabi'a, which is metaphysics. Tabi'a is physics. Wal akhlaq, ethics, as-siyasa, politics. All these now have become part of philosophy. Amma al-falsafa bimana al-khas. Now, so these are all general meaning. Falsafa bimana al-am. General meaning of philosophy comprises of everything. But specific meaning of philosophy, يطلقها على الفلسفة الإلهية. So the specific meaning of philosophy, according to Aristotle, is the theological philosophy. Theological philosophy. What is theological philosophy or divine philosophy? That is the metaphysical philosophy. Okay, metaphysics. التي دعاها أرسطو بالفلسفة الحقيقية. So according to Aristotle, the real and the true philosophy is al-falsafatu al-ilahiyya. That is falsafatu ma warahu tabi'ah. So the metaphysic philosophy. So now, the definition of philosophy according to Aristotle is, okay, وتعرف الفلسفة بهذا المعنى الخاص بأنها البحث عن علل الأشياء وأصولها الأولى. So according to this specific meaning of philosophy, philosophy can be identified and defined as البحث عن علل الأشياء, the study of causes of things. Ilal. Ilal is the jamu of illatu. Okay? So causes. The study about causes of things, wa usuliha al-ula, and the basic principles of things, the basic formations of things. So هذا هو التعريف للفلسفة في المرحلة الثالثة عند القدماء. Now, al-marhalatul rabi'a, we're going to finish marhalatul rabi'a, and then inshallah we will go. Okay? So I can hear someone thinking that, but we promised in the class that we're going to have a short break. Yeah, I can hear you from here. Never mind, we're still going to have the break. Tapi, we want to finish that marhalatul rabi'a. Okay. All right. All right. المرحلة الرابعة من مراحل الفلسفة اليونانية هي مرحلة ما بعد أرسطو. So the fourth stage, the fourth era of the Greek philosophy was the post-Aristotelic era. Post-Aristotelic era. وفي هذه المرحلة at this time أخذت الفلسفة اليونانية في تدهور والإضمحلال. So at this era, at this fourth era, the era number 4, أخذت الفلسفة اليونانية في التدهور والإضمحلال. So the Greek philosophy started to reduce and to vanish, to reduce in value, to degrade, okay? Degrade. So Greek philosophy started to degrade. it became unclear, lack of focus. In the first era, we can say this is the focus of philosophy. In the second era, we can say this is the focus of philosophy, but in the third era, we can also say this is the focus of philosophy, but in the fourth era, because after Aristotle, there was no philosopher who could make significant contribution in philosophy. Okay? ففي هذا العصر انكمش موضوع الفلسفة ولم يبتكر الفلاسفة شيئا جديدا. So at this era, fourth era, موضوع الفلسفة انكمشت. The scope of philosophy become confusing, lack of focus. وَلَمْ يَبْتَكِرْ الْفَلَاسِفَةُ شَيْئًا جَدِيدًا. The philosophers of that era after Socrates, لَمْ يَبْتَكِرُوا شَيْئًا جَدِيدًا. They did not produce anything new. They did not produce any new thing. There was no new discovery. فَقَدْ ظَهَرَتْ فِيهِ مَدْرَسَةَ الْإِبْكُورِيِّينَ وَالرُّوَاكِيِّينَ. So in this era, after Aristotle, there were two schools of philosophy. There were two schools of philosophy. Okay, after this, inshallah, maybe next week, we're going to talk about Plato's school of philosophy. He had a school. It was Madrasatul Academia. Academy. They call it Academy, School of Philosophy. And Aristotle also had a school of philosophy. Okay, we're going to talk about their schools later. Now, post-Aristotelic philosophy, there were two schools that emerged. Number one, the Epicureans. Number two, the Stoics. Epicureans. Then the Stoics. وعلى يد هاتين المدرستين, and through these two schools, Epicurean schools of philosophy and Stoic school of philosophy, تحولت الفلسفة من البحث الواسع الشامل لجميع الموضوعات من إلهية وطبيعية وإنسانية إلى البحث في بعض جوانب الإنسان. So it was through these two schools that they study the wide and comprehensive areas of philosophy تحولت إلى البحث في بعض جوانب الإنسان. Changed to the study of just some areas of man. Before this, philosophy was wide, comprises of a lot of many areas of science. Okay, such as al-bahth al-wasi' al-shamil, to a comprehensive study لجميع الموضوعات, of everything, of every discipline, such as ilahiyya, metaphysics, tabi'iyya, physics, insaniyya, humanity, tabi'iyya, everything. But now, during the post-Socratic era in the school of Epicureans and the Rawakiyin, now they limited the focus of philosophy to Ba'du Jawanib al-Insan, just a specific area of man. انتقلت من البحث النظري إلى البحث العملي. Philosophy changed, graduated from the theoretical study to practical study. وصارت المباحث الفلسفية قاصرة على الإنسان. Now, this philosophical studies was now limited to the study of man. من ناحية أخلاقه, okay, so the area of human ethics, سعادته, human happiness, سلوكه, human behaviors, في هذه الحياة وقيمته فيها. So all about humans' value, humans' ethics, humans' happiness, human behavior in life, and the value of man in life. وإن اختلفت المدرستان في تحديد الغاية التي تريد كل منهما الوصول إليها. Although the two schools differ, they have different opinions in their purpose and aim and objective that they want to achieve in philosophy. But both of them, they contributed to limiting the areas of philosophy to the study of man alone. فالإبيكوريون مثلا كانوا يطلبون السعادة. So according to the Epicureans, for example, their focus was only on happiness, joy, what makes man happy, what makes man joyous. وَيَرَوْنَهَا فِي الْأُصُولِ عَلَى اللَّذَّةِ. Okay, and they think that the way that we can achieve and be happiness, how to achieve happiness, how to be happy, is just through enjoyment and lazza, enjoyment, party, going to party, merriment. Okay. وَلِذَا تُعْرَفُ الْفَلْسَفَةُ عِنْدَهُمْ. So by this, we can define philosophy according to the Epicureans as القدرة على السعادة بواسطة العقل والفطنة. The ability to be happy, the ability to achieve happiness through the ration, والفطنة, and intuition. The ability of man to achieve happiness, to acquire what makes him happy by using his intellect and his intuition. When we come to the Epicureans, the Stoics, Arruwakiyun, okay, Amma Arruwakiyun, فكانوا واجبيين يطلبون الواجب لذاته مهما كلفهم عمل الواجب. So the Stoics, they were wajibiyun, to the obligatorists, that is, ما هو الواجب يركزون على ما هو الواجب على الإنسان عمله. They focus us on what is the obligation of man, what are obligatory things that man could do, should do. فيطلبون الواجب لذاته. They were seeking for what is necessary and what is obligatory, not what just makes them happy. What should they do? What are the requirements? What are they required of? مهما كلفهم عمل الواجب. No matter what it takes them to achieve what is obligatory, min tadahiyat. Okay, no matter what sacrifice they can do, sacrificing their money, sacrificing their self, sacrificing their property. So وَقَدْ تَوَصَّلُوا لِذَلِكَ بِعَمَلِ الْفَضِيلَةِ. So they achieve that through the study of virtues. Okay? They don't concentrate on just happiness, merriness, okay, partying. No, they wanted to know what are the things that are obligatory. Apayam Pelu, what are must for man to do? and they sacrificed everything in achieving that obligation. So by this, we can define philosophy according to the Stoics as asayu wara il-fadila wa ma yajibu an yasira alayhi al-insanu fi hayati. Asayu wara il-fadila, seeking for the virtues, seeking for the virtues, looking for the virtues, wa ma yajibu an yasira alayhi al-insan, and what man should do. Okay, what are the obligations of man fi hayatihi in his life? What are the purpose of man in his life? So this was their focus, and this was the definition of philosophy in their time according to them. So هذه هي المراحل الأربعة في المرحلة القديمة. So these are the 4 eras in the first period. Okay? Don't forget that we say philosophy would be divided into 4 periods. Okay? العصر الأول أو القرن الأول والقرن الثاني والقرن الثالث والرابع. Now, what we have discussed is just only al-Qurun al-Qadima, the ancient time, the Greek time, which is divided into 4 eras: pre-Socratic, Sophistocratic, Platonic and Aristotelic, and number 4, post-Aristotelic. The second period is Al-Qurun al-Wusta al-Masihiyya, the Christian medieval eras. What was the definition of philosophy in the Christian medieval era? So that will be the focus of discussion, inshallah, for the USUL7B counseling Studio A tomorrow. And is it right? USUL7B counseling, right? Yeah, USUL7B counseling Studio A. All right, so that will be the focus of USUL7B counseling Studio A tomorrow, inshallah. So we are going to stop here because of our promise that we are going to have short breaks. All right, and if we start this Al-Qurun al-Wusta al-Masihiyya, we cannot finish it before the time runs out. So it is better to call it a day here, inshallah. So tomorrow, we will continue from that with the USUL7B counseling, and the recordings will also be for everyone, inshallah, to access biiznillah. So bihadha naktafi al-yawm, inshallah. So this is where we are going to stop for today until we meet again in the next discussion and recordings. I surrender myself and everybody unto the protection and guide of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, before I forget, I want to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you will get the notification as soon as I send the recordings there. So that is the YouTube, and this is the Facebook. There is a channel on the Facebook that is closed. It is closed because it is not open to the public. It is only to the students. But I realize that majority cannot access it because it has some criteria. So inshallah, I will remove the criteria and I will relieve some of the securities so that it can be accessible to every one of you, even after your graduation, inshallah. So it is meant to be a life project. So even after your graduation, you can still come back to the channels and access any information that you need regarding all the subjects that I take, whether it is Falsafa Islamiyya or Falsafa Haditha or even Yunaniya sometimes, Madkhal ila al-Falsafa, Nazariyatul Ma'rifa sometimes, and any other discussions. This time I focus on the Hikam of Ibn Atta'illah as-Sakandari. Okay, I started the project, I think 3 years ago. Okay, I want to complete it, inshallah. It is 264 Hikam. And as of yesterday, I finished 217. So today, for Ramadan series and the spiritual traits, so I'm going to treat aphorism 218. So I start by 6 p.m. and between 6 and 6:30, just like 15, 30 minutes only, short, very short. So if you have time, you can join, but the link is, what is the link for the link for the Ramadan spiritual delicacies? It's not here. All right. Anyway, if anyone wants to join the live session, you can PM me. I will send you the link privately, inshallah. But however, you can still access it on the YouTube and the Facebook channel because I post there every day of Ramadan. So by the end of Ramadan, inshallah, I'm going to complete 200 because today is 23, so we have 6 left, right? So 6 plus 20, 6 plus 217, so that will be 223. So I'm going to complete aphorism 223 for Ramadan. But after Ramadan, every Friday, I continue this series. That is what I've been doing for the past 3 years. And hopefully before the next Ramadan, I can finish the aphorisms. Then I will start another book. So it is free of charge for the students. So you can access it anytime. Even after you have graduated, you can come back to the channel and still benefit from it, inshallah. So بهذا نكتفي إن شاء الله حتى نلتقي في تسجيل آخر إن شاء الله غدا بإذن الله. أستودعكم ونفسي في رعاية الله الذي لا يضيع ودائعه. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله. Thank you.
شكرا أستاذ.
شكرا لله. Thank you all for attending.
شكرا أستاذ. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. definition of Congress?